I was watching an interview that Ray Evernham gave, and where he was talking about this deck lid at Daytona.
He's the one giving that up.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's on YouTube.
Really? All right. What did he say about it?
Well, the deck pin, the pins, like somehow.
Was it his?
No, yours.
Oh, okay.
He said this was yours.
Yeah.
Where Earnhardt could lower. No,
Wasn't Earnhardt. It was
not
Earnhardt.
Earnhardt.
It was Harry Gant.
It was Harry Gant.
Yeah. I've still got it. I've still got the deck lid.
Is this on the same shelf as the?
It's close to it.
He's got a trophy case of all his most.
When it comes to selling your stuff, I want all those things. I want your little cheated up parts.
So listen, if Ray Evernham's out there talking, he's on a PR tour to talk about all the stuff.
That's what the Hall of Fame needs is exhibit.
That's right. They need an
does.
exhibit. Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this deck lid?
Okay, so we go to in Daytona. They came up with a spoiler angle rule. I guess it was 89 or 90. I can't remember what year it was. And we had always been good. Like I said, we won in 88 at Talladega, finished third at 500. So we were always good at speedways and exploiting all the rules. Well, some of that spoiler angle was some of it was heights, a lot of things that but Gary Nelson came along and really tightened up this is going to be his first season as the series director. We've got to clean it all up now. We can't be cheating. They're going to check heights. And so now all of a sudden we can't do our little things we were doing. And we weren't very fast. We were at testing, and we were really slow. Motors were off at that time, and I remember being on a plane coming back, and I'm just kind of in my mind thinking, what are we going to do? And I thought if I could figure out a way to get that spoiler to lay down and get it back up, because they're going to check it post-race. And so I had in my mind, before I even landed, I had in my mind how we could make the hinge, and conceal it and how all that would work. And what I didn't have was an actuator for it. And so I go to work on it. As soon as we get back, me and a guy named Dean Jones worked in our shop in a little locked up room on this thing. Nobody knew. And we get this thing all working. The spoiler hinge is perfect. Everything's good. I've got the back plate of the spoiler. I do this little deal with silicone where it looks like it's welded, but it still has flexible, and it's all good. But I don't have any way to move it. And I'm looking at, back then, no internet, right? So you don't have a way to go just search this thing. And I've looked in catalogs. And so one night I took my car that we drove was an Oldsmobile, Delta 88 that they gave us to drive, So I'm driving it to the store, and I get to the store, get some groceries, and I pop the deck lid. Boop, pops up, I'm going to throw the groceries in the trunk. I shut the deck lid, and if you remember these cars, they would click, and then they would have this thing that just pulled them down tight, And so as soon as that happened, like as soon as they went click, click and went, yeah, I was walking to the driver's door, and I went, whoa, wait a minute. I popped that deck lid up. I said, where is that thing? What's doing that? And so I take that thing right straight from the grocery store over to the shop, and I pop that thing out, and I find that little motor, and it is dead perfect. It's got this little thing going up and down. I'm thinking, man, this is perfect. And so I take it. I go in there and fab up. This is at like 8 o'clock at night. I fab up this little thing to like hold the deck lid down on this car, and take that thing. And then I had to buy another one, right? Because I needed one on each side of the spoiler.
Okay.
So we start making all the little linkages and everything. But it's perfect. Had a little limit switch, and we could set it, and we got it, and it was nice. Again, Leo Jackson, not one that wants to cheat. And so
how did you engage it?
So okay, that's the key to it. So we get it on the car. I told Leo, I said, look, I wasn't going to do it without telling him. He said he didn't want to do it. I said, well, let me put it on the car. If you can find it, we won't run it. And it's on there. I've heard
that before.
Okay. I said, if you can find it, we won't run it. I'll give you all the time you want.
I feel like somebody had that same exact story.
It was DW. It was the shot that would come out of the frame rails.
Yeah, but he was
but
like,
they couldn't find the door.
They were saying the same thing. Like, if you can find it, we won't do it.
Yeah.
Somebody else is uncomfortable. That's pretty good.
So
way
we
of
put that right.
things.
Because he knows it's in the car. You inspect it and see if you can find it. So we roll the car, it's ready to go to Daytona. Roll it in there.
Where was it?
Back then we had a different kind of radio system. It was an analog thing, and we put it in a box. Everybody kind of had them. They were an aluminum box that would keep out the interference, and it's set on the tunnel the way we had ours, right beside the driver, and it had some switches on it and dials to turn the radio up and turn it on and off. So we just put a little extra switch in there, a little three-way, like middle and up and down.
On the radio
box. And so I wired all this stuff through the roll bars. I mean, the key to cheating is you got to do it right. You got to really do the work. And so we spent hours and hours doing this and concealed it up in the hinged part, and all the stuff in the car. Everything's ready. Put it on there. Check. Okay, so Leo checks the angle. It's 45 or whatever the number was, and he goes in there, starts looking at switches, and he's raising the deck lid, and he's looking at this, and he's looking at that, and he's all over this thing. Cannot find it. He said, I don't think it's on this car. I reached in there at the radio box, and the spoiler goes, yeah.
That moment. That would have been so good.
I'd be my pants if I was you, because
I was the whole time.
you go to the track and you're like,
oh God, I just knew they were going to catch us. I guarantee I looked so guilty. I couldn't stand it. They were all over that thing. I'm like, good Lord. And we get ready to qualify. Rolls out there. Gary Nelson is checking the spoiler angle.
the
First day on the job.
head of director.
He is supposed to be stopping all cheating. He is doing it himself. Instead of having somebody, he's at the right before you go on the track, he's the one putting it on your car. So I had it up a degree or so just so I didn't have to mess with it.
Yeah.
Well, he says, knock it down. I said, no, it's good. I was wrong. He said, no. He said, knock it down. I'm like, oh, God. My heart's going, you can see it beating through my shirt. I guarantee you. So I'm trying to get it together. It won't move, man. It won't move. No, it won't bend. I mean, I've got linkages and everything. And finally, it goes down a tenth or something. And he finally says, go. And I was like, oh, whew. So he takes off. And at the end of pit road at Daytona, it's right close to the track. And I'm standing there with my stopwatch. I'm going to clock Harry when he comes by. And, Gary's standing right there in front of me, checking the next guy's spoiler. I look at that car coming by, and I think, and I'm like, God.
Visually.
Oh, yeah.
It was flat.
Oh. And Gary didn't even look over there.
Oh,
He had seen, I mean, it was.
It was obvious.
Yes.
Damn.
So after that, I said, we got to get that deck lid off the car. I can't stand it anymore. I just can't
This
do
is
it.
no way to live.
So we back then they used to let you put the cars in the hauler, and so we had another deck lid, and I had them get in there and chop them wire and put the stock deck lid on it. And that way I could breathe for speed. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it for 2 weeks.
Life is best lived in motion. And that's why Tire Pros gets you ready for all your driving adventures. Whether it's along corners and curves, across city and state lines. Because we're more than just tires. We're auto care too. Tire Pros, so you can focus on the road ahead.